And welcome to the very first episode of the new podcast that I'm doing. I'm your host, Curtis Scism, and I'm with my co-host, Veronica McFarland.
Yo.
And we are doing a show called the Sunday Anime Chat Podcast. We're going to record, maybe once, twice a month?
Yeah, that sounds good.
And what our goal is to do is talk about both old and new anime. There's a lot of old anime that I think gets left in the dust. It gets forgotten about and it doesn't get talked about anymore. Especially with the modern anime scene where it's season by season, a lot of old stuff gets forgotten. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, well, actually, this latest movie, Alita Battle Angel, she was an older anime and an older manga originally that's been brought back into the limelight. So actually, I think some of the older animes are becoming more and more popular, and honestly, with some of the original ones that got me into anime in the beginning. So, even though I kind of got late, I would say in the early 2000s is when I started first out with anime, and that was with some of the classics. So, it's up for debate.
Yeah, that's a good point, because, Ghost in the Shell got a live-action adaptation recently. Wasn't it last year?
I think it was longer than that, actually. I think that was a couple years ago now.
So yeah, there's still love for the Otis series, but I definitely feel like needs to be a show like our show that talks about and don't worry, we're going to talk about the new shows as well, but definitely show some love to the Otis series. And our first episode, we'd like to start out. Oh, before that, Veronica, what have you done on YouTube? Have you ever done any YouTube or podcasts before?
Yeah, I've just started doing YouTube just within this last month, and it's under my book title, which I've written a children's book, studying early childhood education right now. But even before that, for years now, I've been doing cosplay, and I've been featured on a couple websites before and on DeviantArt. And you can find my cosplay on Facebook as VV's Crazy Cosplay, with spelled VIVI. And on YouTube, I'm Mr. Alligator Story, which is based on the title of my book, The Little and Big Adventures of Mr. Alligator. So you can check out all those.
And my podcast work, I've been a contributor to the In-Game Boss program with my host, Jeremy Evans. He's been an excellent host where we talk about video games. I've been a contributor on his main program, the In-Game Boss. And I also did a series for his channel called The Gaming Hall of Rivalries, where I was a co-host with Jeremy. And over the last year, we took two characters from the video game industry, very influential, and looked at what they did with the game industry and why they're such a lasting character in even today's date. And that was a very fun experience. Definitely give him a shout out and a listen. You can listen to the In-Game Boss program on Podbean, as well as the Apple iTunes podcast app. But going into today's episode, what is the first episode we're going to do today, the series?
Gurren Lagann.
Gurren Lagann. This Gurren Lagann is funny because it came out in 2006, and we watched it recently.
Yep.
And what really blew my mind was it really held up in animation. Like, it has aged very beautifully.
Oh yeah, in terms of animation, there are so many varied styles within anime right now that some you could look at it and say, oh, that was done years ago. Nope, it was done recently. And as far as Gurren Lagann's concerned, its animation is absolutely stunning. The budget that they threw.
Oh, you
at
can
this
just
series,
imagine someone dumping a dump chunk of money.
bro, fight the money.
Yeah. But yes, it is gorgeously animated, and it's a very deceptive series.
Yeah.
When I recommended it to you, because I kept nagging you, you've got to watch this. Have you watched it yet? Okay, F it. We're going to watch it together.
Yeah.
I have you over on Sundays with my wife, Heather, and we watch anime on Sundays. And it's like, okay, this is going to be one of the ones that I'm going to watch with Veronica. And I was very nervous because, and by the way, there are spoilers. So it's 10 years old. If you just give it a watch, guys. Okay. I was very nervous because you either continue watching Gurren Lagann or you stop around episode 6.
Yeah.
It does not take itself serious whatsoever. It is, I don't know, bait and switch is the term I'd use.
I don't know. It has so much comedic humor. I mean, especially for the dub cast they got for this show really brings so much. I think the voice actors really bring. And I mean, animation, music, voice acting, it all adds surprise because it was kind of under my radar. Other people had suggested it to me, but I'm like, okay, I'll just put on. And
oh yeah, our list to watch together is long, and that's not even including Veronica's own personal list, which I'm sure is very long. It does not help when I text her and say, "Hey, have you seen this? Gotta check this out. Hey, I just saw this with my friend Cameron. You need to watch this, girl." And my history with Gurren Lagann, my friend Cameron from work introduced it to me. He and I hang out. And I was just thinking, man, this is I cannot take this serious. It is so silly. I was watching it subbed. And I went onto Netflix. I found it dubbed. And I fell in love. I was like, oh my gosh, I know that voice actor. I know Kiowa Bear. Oh my god, that's Yuri Lowenthal. That's Michelle Ruff. Okay, Cameron, we're going to watch this dubbed so I can really get invested. I know that's really bad. I know there's that debate between subs and dubs, but the English dub for Gurren Lagann is very well done. But going back to so episodes 1 through definitely 7, there's definitely a lot of silliness. There's a lot of the show does not take itself serious whatsoever, and the animators even made funny jokes too. There's a fight between one of the main characters, Kamina, and his antagonist Vero, and Kamina's unsheathing this Nodachi. It's a horseman katana. It's a 5-foot blade. Well, in the anime, the blade keeps going. It's not stopping at all. And you even pointed it out, like
the scene takes forever. You're sitting there waiting, okay, the sword's coming out. It's okay. That whole joke of, yeah, I've got a really big sword, dude. You know?
So the story of Gurren Lagann, it starts out in an underground city. All of mankind has been forced underground to live. And on the top of the surface, they are killed by what's called beastmen. So there's definitely an incentive to stay underground, know your place, don't bend the rules. And growing up in that society, even the powers that be, they believe there's nothing good that comes from the surface. Just do your work and drill for the community. And that's where Simone, the second main character, comes in. He's a driller. And on one day, by chance, he meets Kamina. Kamina speaks the most, if you can imagine this, the most blasphemous stuff of, oh, the surface, my dad was there. We are going to break upon the surface one of these days. And it's like, oh man, dude, you're going to get stoned to death if you don't stop. And within 15 minutes, almost the 20-minute mark, after Simone and Kamina start escaping, in comes this giant mech head that's from a fight, crashes upon them. They're seeing the sunlight for their first time. And what did you think of that first scene?
The first scene, it really starts to build up the whole character dynamic between Kamina and Simone. I mean, there's definitely the big brother, little brother thing going on there. And he basically keeps nagging him, say, yeah, we got to go up to the surface. We got to go up to the surface. I was there before. I remember it with my dad. And Simone's like, no, I don't want to do it. But they do it. And then they immediately meet Yoko.
Oh, who comes in guns a-blazing, shooting this super awesome rifle. Does nothing but headshots at this mech. She is fighting a 50-foot mech. What's Yoko's maybe 5'6", 5'7" at least.
Yeah, pretty average as far as height goes, but unaverage as far as
And this
asset.
is the part where if you guys are still with Gurren Lagann, this is the part where, oh my gosh, is she gonna just freak out about Yoko's attire? And I just kept looking over at Veronica like, oh god, it gets good. Trust me. Oh dear God, it gets good.
No, anyone who's done anything in cosplay has seen so many Yoko cosplays before because she is like a quintessential badass girl
Heroine,
with big
yes.
boobs, you know, which is your ultimate cosplay.
And so with Yoko's help, Simone ends up finding a mech called Lagann. It's this giant head, and he pilots it. He hops in it with Kamina and Yoko. They end up defeating the first beast in the mech, launch themselves out of the hole to the surface, and it's this beautiful panning shot of seeing the sun, the sunset, the landscape for the first time. The music just swells up, and there is a lot of YouTube videos that just say this is like a perfect episode for a setup of a series. And this is like, oh my gosh, if she can make it past this, if Veronica likes this, just get to episode 8. Oh my gosh.
For me, it was more later on. It wasn't exactly the first episode. The first episode was really good, and it summed up the entirety of the show, or, you know, set up its projection. But I kind of fell in love with more of the side stories, with more of all the characters interacting with each other. And, you know, as they go about their adventures on the way, I kind of got near the end of episode 6 was when I was really invested.
So definitely, let's start out with Kamina. Kamina, he's voiced by Kyoe Bear, and he uses almost the Great Saiyaman voice in a sense. It's very loud, bombastic, full of life, and the unequaled confidence. And you think he's a blowhard. But it's so inspirational too, because he has everything against him at this point. And he always says throughout the series, Simone is the method to his madness. Without Simone, I'm just one half of the piece. And the relationship, you really grow to love the blood brother relationship between Simone and Kamina. What is your take on Kamina?
Kamina, this show is big on stereotypes, like making stereotypes good. So he's your stereotypical,
Shonen lead.
Hero lead, except, he's that charismatic person that draws everyone together. Every leader needs to have a big crap ton of charisma in order to bring out the best of all the other characters.
And he's definitely the face of the revolution against the Beastmen. He's the face of the movement. Simone's kind of the spine in the sense of, because he's the one that pilots Lagann. He's the one that pilots the first mech. And they come across a second mech that Kamina actually co-pilots the body. So the Lagann is literally a head with short stubby arms and short stubby legs, and has some drills as weapons. So when they catch the other mech, they put the head on top of the body, very Power Rangers like. And what's really neat about Yoko is she's still very supportive as a sniper, because they definitely utilize her skills even in a lot of the fights that you wouldn't think, like, okay, lady, let's run and cover. And damn, she is a really well-written female protagonist. She's definitely the boob joke, but I don't know. She plays the boob joke, but she does not.
Yeah, well, she's fan service, except that's all she is. She's eye candy, but yet she has the brains and the brawn to take care of herself. She's not a damsel in distress. She's by no means a damsel in distress.
And Simone, I love Simone's art because he starts out very reserved, very introverted, very quiet and reserved. And, the only reason why he has the confidence to pilot Lagann is Kamina I'll quote, if you don't believe in yourself, believe in the me that believes in you. And that's kind of the mantra of the whole series is believing in yourself, believing in that fighting spirit. And he constantly tells Simone that your drill is the one that will pierce the heavens. It's the one that, and I think it's such a neat spoiler and foreshadowing is that Kamina's not going to be the one leading. It's Simone's drill. It's Simone that will be leading.